Well, welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to The View from Here, Behind Enemy Lines. That is Michael, my cohort, my co da, da, da,
The guy who puts up with his ass.
co-host. And anyway, we're here because we had nothing else to do tonight, so we figured we'd do another
We're here
podcast.
because we're not there.
We are going to be back on Tuesday night. I'm not going to get into details. I don't want to say who it is because I don't want to jinx it again. But we are going to have a guest. We're scheduled. We have a guest
We've
scheduled.
invited a very young man, and we're going to get his view of what conservatism is like for himself.
On the college campus.
Well, that's true. He is in college right now.
Yeah. So we're going to get the viewpoint of a conservative who is in college, has to put up with all the bullshit that the left throws at him while he's out
Let's put it this way. He's so conservative that when he and I talk, nobody has to say, what do you mean by that?
Columbia University,
Yep.
because they're allowing anti-Semitic attacks on Jewish students and so forth, and anti-Semitic speeches.
Right.
President Trump has taken away, I think it's $300 million.
No, 500 million.
500. Oh, even better. Okay,
Yeah.
even better. But you know what? Columbia owns so much property, has so much in endowments that they don't need it. They don't need our tax dollars to fund their leftism.
Well, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, you got to understand how Trump does things. He puts the big stick out, and if you're not smart enough to duck, you get hit with it. If you're smart enough to duck and not be an asshole, then they may not, like he's cut people a lot of slack. He says, I'm going to do these tariffs. Well, we'll give you a month off. It's like the stick or the carrot.
Well, he's expanded the month for Mexico till April 2nd now. Okay, because they apparently are working with us on the problems he has, and I think his main thing, besides closing the border and not allowing fentanyl through, which is the main thing, actually his second main thing is he wants to see if they will, for us to have free trade, true free trade, there would be no tariffs either way. So the only tariffs he's putting on, whether it's Mexico, Canada, or whatever country you name, he's only implementing tariffs, or he plans to implement tariffs, the same percentage that they tariff us. So he's not trying to, except for China. He is, I think, because they don't allow anything in, I think he said he wants to put 100% tariffs on Chinese products, which is good because...
To use a metaphor, let's say you're talking to somebody and you say, well, if you slap me, I'm going to slap you. So if nobody slaps, if the guy doesn't slap you, guess what? Nobody gets slapped. So
exactly.
You're gonna go ahead and impose upon our productivity. We're going to impose upon you. We're going to make your product less desirable in our country. If that's the way you want to play.
Oh, I told Michael just before we started taping, I saw him with the hat again. He's been wearing a hat lately, so I decided to wear a cap myself. And I don't know if you can see it, so I'll read it to you folks. It says, this describes me. Built in the 50s, original and unrestored. Some parts still in working order.
Well, mine is a Jack Daniels hat, and the only reason why I'm wearing it is because my hair's a mess.
So always is.
This is, well, not always. I do try to keep...
The other day when we did the last podcast, you took your hat off at one point, and your hair went looked like it was trying to get into an Einstein.
Yeah, I have a habit of combing my hair just before I leave the house. But when I'm in the house, I think, I don't care. That's the advantage and disadvantage of living alone, is that there's nobody to say, you look like shit.
Until you pass by a mirror. But I noticed that I thought you were a vampire at first, because when I did visit you, I noticed no mirrors in sight.
There is actually a mirror upstairs in my bedroom, which every once in a while I'm surprised to see that it's there. I don't know what it is. I don't know if this was an influence by my father, but basically the idea of me looking in the mirror to see myself seems vain, and I don't like doing it.
Well, the mirror is mainly to check out how you look once you get dressed to go out or something. Really.
It's not a question of rationality. It's an emotional thing. It's,
okay.
We have our silly little habits, our neuroses, and I'm just saying, I consider most of the time when I look in the mirror, it feels a little vain, because when you look this good, you feel sorry for other people.
Speaking of the colleges and the anti-Semitic and other activist groups there,
we were talking about
Bernard. What's that?
We weren't. We were just talking about mirrors and me. Now you're
No,
changing this.
I'm going back to the colleges because as of yesterday, they had identified the first foreign student
Yes.
who is going to be kicked out of Colombia and kicked out of our country. He doesn't belong here. Screw him or her. I don't know if it's him or her, but whoever it
Well,
is, bye
might be a
bye.
they.
Don't come back.
Might be a they. I think it's.
Well, there's no such thing as days anymore.
I think that particular student who's pro Hamas. I think their pronoun is it and shit.
Speaking of it and shit, there's talk. People are starting to demand that the Muslim Brotherhood, which is based in Egypt, which is behind every single one of these Islamic terror groups, that they be declared a terrorist organization. They should be. They should have been declared that ages ago, decades ago, literally. But hopefully, they will be declared they're the ones who were behind the assassination of Anwar Sadat. Remember the Egyptian prime minister who signed a peace agreement with Begin?
Mm-hmm.
You know, during Carter's.
The thing is that President Trump taking office has affected the entire world. I remember hearing something about something going on in England and people talking about him, and America might actually again be an example. I was very proud of the Canadians when they did their truck thing. I said, "Oh my God, is that where the revolution is going to start?"
And unfortunately, the bitch who is probably going to take over for Trudeau is in the Liberal Party. She is the one who was gleefully announcing that they had taken the truckers' identifications and frozen their bank accounts and so forth when that happened. Okay, I can't believe Canadians are going to elect this woman. But it's like Stephen Crowder says, and he grew up in Montreal. He said, Canada is such a silly place.
Well, I keep thinking of other countries as having people that are more independent minded. Like I thought that of the Australians, I thought that of the Canadians, I thought that of the Brits. And it seems that the entire world has been somewhat pacified.
Well, you might blame it on, they're saying that the chemtrails are spraying stuff that makes us, what do they call it, more apathetic. Okay, docile.
Well, that's what fluoride does. It actually assaults a section of a person's brain that promotes some degree of aggression. I mean, that's the reason why.
The Nazis used it to pacify people.
As a matter of fact, they were the first to use it.
Yep.
And it wasn't because they gave a shit about the Jews not getting sick. Let's see. Should we give them water or should we spend a little money on the fluoride to keep them nice and healthy? Oh, let's spend some money on the fluoride because, we really care about the Jews. No, they didn't care about the Jews.
No,
so
they didn't give a damn
everything
about
that they did to the Jews is clearly suspect.
Do you know how the media is constantly harming, and so are the Democrats? Oh, Trump wants to meet with Putin. He wants to meet with dictators, with Putin and Kim Jong-un and this, that. What?
He's a world leader.
Yes. But, and not only that, President Bush, both President Bushes, Obama, and even Hillary, who wasn't president, being groomed for it, they met with Putin. They talked. In fact, there's an interview in 2004 or 2003, I think, where Piers Morgan was asking Clinton about Putin and what he was like. He said he's very smart, very bright, and he said, and he was questioning why he didn't say anything bad about him in public. And Clinton said, "Oh, we were very blunt. Our relationship was very blunt, very blunt. But that was in private." He said, "People like that, you do not want to embarrass them publicly." Because then they're not going to want to talk, not going to want. Right. They have to stay faced, and this is one thing that the media. What?
That should be true of every world leader.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is what the media and the Democrats either don't get or ignore purposely to try and just put President Trump down and claim he's.
It has nothing to do with rationale. Whatever Trump does is wrong. End of statement.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole point. They know it's right, but they don't give it.
Talk to Putin. They complain about that.
Yeah.
Why isn't he talking to Putin?
And the other thing, they're saying he was so good. In his first term, he put sanctions on Putin and a lot of the higher ups in Russia, a lot of the oligarchs, okay? Worldwide sanctions. But the media won't touch on that. Neither will the lying Democrats.
Yeah, well, that's the deep state is still alive and kicking.
Unfortunately.
Right.
News about the gender dysphoria suicides. They're always complaining that people with gender dysphoria, they commit suicide at a high rate and this and that. And if they don't get the gender affirming care, which means if they're not allowed to mutilate their bodies at taxpayer expense mostly, that they're going to commit a suicide. Well, it turns out that since they started doing these gender transitions a couple of years ago, yes, exactly, the suicide rates have gone up. They've climbed. Yeah. They've more than doubled. I think tripled.
And let me guess. It's because they discover in the process that they can't be the gender they want to be.
Well, that's what they say. The truth of the matter is they know they made a big mistake.
Well, yes, but that's the realization that they can't be the gender they want to be. Nor will anybody let them make believe.
Well, now they don't make them.
Well, here's
let them live whatever way they want behind their in their homes and so forth. I don't care. Let them sleep with whoever they want.
I'm not sure about that because these are fellow citizens. And if they have a mental condition that's causing them to produce this Munchausen syndrome, then I would say that, it would be right for somebody to interfere and offer them therapy and help them get on the right track.
Right. But that is the opponents of that, the people who are all for eliminating genders and saying that, oh, yeah, you can be this, you can be that. Men can get pregnant and so forth, and men can have periods. No, they want to keep doing what they've been doing. It doesn't matter what damage they cause to these people. They're puppets for them. They're useful idiots.
When Giuliani mayor and he started taking some of the homeless people off the street and putting them in mental institutions, they said that was wrong because you were imposing on those people's rights.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that if you're mentally ill, you're sick. And if the state can reasonably diagnose that, and if the state is willing to, I think it's perfectly okay for them to give a helping hand and help this person out of his dementia.
Even if it's against their own will. And that's the problem, because the courts
rule. If you're mentally ill, your will is not the issue anymore because you've proven yourself to be incompetent. It's
exactly. But thanks to that idiot Geraldo Rivera, who discovered in the 1990s that was it Willowbrook in Long Island, a mental facility, they were abusing their patients. Yes. Because they found abuse at that one place. New York closed all their, well, for lack of a better term, insane asylums.
Well, the pendulum.
They left these people on the streets.
When the pendulum swings, it tends to do it to extremes. But the thing is that...
Yeah, I blame Geraldo directly. He's a jackass.
Well, he certainly brought it to the issue. But again, one man cannot do all that. So he initiated...
Come on, the system was behind him. The bureaucracy was behind him. The left was behind him. The left that wants to destroy this country, destroy society, they are behind it.
If let's get real here, the one who was really behind him was the news agency because they were making money hand over fist because they had hot news. If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, well, they had hot news when he discovered Al Capone's vault also, remember? Which, what did they find? Dust and spiders?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, it was him too. That was in the 80s, I think. Yeah,
I was always meds with him. I didn't particularly care for him. I didn't like Channel 7 News in general. I thought it was a rag.
Yeah, well, the only ones I liked on Channel 7 were Bill Butel and I forget the other guy's name. I liked him too. The severe-looking guy who was balding. They did the 6 o'clock news. Well, those two guys I liked.
My favorite news channel was Channel 4.
I used to like Channel 4, but Channel 4 is, oh my God, the only worst channel. The only worst channel today.
I used to watch not anymore. I said when I was a kid, I used to watch Channel 4.
Yeah. Well, the only channel worse than MSNBC today is almost as bad is NBC. They're right behind MSNBC. Yeah. They are fiction, not news.
What about PBS?
Well, PBS has been fiction it's been leftist propaganda forever and taxpayer funded. We don't need to fund them. Let the left fund it because they want it on. Let them fund it. The
Well,
only thing PBS ever brought that I liked ever was Monty Python's Flying Circus.
well, I actually, I've, I don't watch public service anymore, and PBS, and there's actually many public service news channels throughout the country, not just PBS.
Yeah, local community station.
Right, but the thing is that I think having public programming is a good thing. I think the problem is that the people that have taken over public programming are using it as a way of pushing their, which seems to be contra to what we believe is the truth.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're not just providing a necessary service. They are propagandizing as they do it. Okay, and our taxpayer dollars shouldn't be going to propaganda against us.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible, given the present situation, for anybody to be truly objective anymore. I think everybody's taken a side, and that's not good for either side. That's not good for the people in the middle. I think, we we have to be more concerned about telling the truth than we are about winning an argument.
True, but they don't tell the truth. Okay, all they want to do is twist the truth and tell people that we are conspiracy theorists. You know what? We're running out of conspiracies because every one of them has turned out to be factual.
Well, the thing is that theories are used in science. So if you want to say that you want to be a man of science and follow the science, then guess what? When
it comes to explore theories,
truth, you're going to have to go ahead and have a theory. I think so and so may have done that because exculpatory evidence. I mean,
delve into it. Yes,
it's just conspiracy theory is just a label that they created, very much like the AR-15, where they call it an assault weapon. It's a label that basically categorize a particular activity as being absolutely unacceptable because it is extremist.
So, you know when it was coined? Which was first conspiracy theory. It was first coined after the Kennedy assassination, when a lot of people didn't believe in the one-gun shooter, the lone shooter. I mean,
the issue where we found out just recently that there were two shooters.
Yes, at least.
It took them a long time to get those fingerprints right. But the thing is that, my God, I keep bumping into people. I went into a resale store today, and I had a 15-minute conversation with a woman about how wonderful it is that Trump is president. And I bumped into somebody else in another store because I wear my MAGA hat, so people know I agree with them. Another guy comes up and he says, he's saying, can you believe it? Isn't this great? This is so great. I wake up every morning. It's great. It's like, there's this gentleman, John Eastman. There is a documentary online somewhere. I believe it's he has a platform, and it's called the EASTMAN Dilemma, and it goes into depth as to his particular explorations of the 2020 election and all of the lawfare that was used against him and the wrongdoings done to him.
Right. It was released in January, I saw the trailer you sent me.
Yes, I was fortunate enough to meet the man at a meeting just this past Thursday, and I asked him one question, and the question was, given the level of distress that this must have caused you, what did you do to handle that emotional distress? And he said, just like that, he says, only God, and I believed in what I was doing. I mean, he didn't have to think twice about it. And so and the thing is, like, Alan Dershowitz thinks he's an outstanding lawyer. Last time I checked, that guy's pretty damn good. So
Alan Dershowitz.
Well, he even said, Alan Dershowitz said, listen, I don't agree with him politically, but as a lawyer, he's extraordinary.
But he also talked out about the lawfare being used against Trump and decried it as illegal, unconstitutional. And so for the last 3 years, the left, which adored this guy for years because he was their best, he was basically probably their most intelligent guy, and they've turned on him because he defended Trump. Dershowitz.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I know every once in a while I see him on Newsmax and stuff.
Yeah, because CNN and MSNBC, they won't have him anymore. He used to be a regular on the media, leftist media. Now, no. The last 2-3 years, he's been banished.
Anyway, if you watch that documentary, the amount of information in it is staggering, and the numbers when he recants the various data that he discovered, and these are real numbers and so forth, such as how many dead people in one particular state voted. There was one state, and they registered voters that were not old enough to vote, and then got them to vote.
Also, how many states had more registered voters than residents?
Right, exactly. That happened in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I saw an interesting T-shirt on a guy at the gym today. It said, "Peaceful men are able to what is it? Peaceful men are able to sleep in peace because there are rough men who are willing to commit violence on their behalf." I wanted to take a picture of the shirt. I forgot to do that.
I don't get it.
In other words, men of peace can sleep peacefully at night because they know that there are rough men who are willing to commit extreme violence on their behalf.
On their behalf. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So basically, you got some brutes out there covering your ass.
Yes, exactly. It's like Jack Nicholson's character in A Few Good Men, who, of course, Hollywood made into a monster, and he wasn't a monster. He said, "You can't handle the truth. You need people like me." And we do,
Well, that's an ethical issue, because the thing is
killing the guy like that, no, that was wrong.
Well, the thing is that the intellect is just, a mechanism. Okay? The most important measuring stick is in your heart. So if you can live with what you're doing, if you could stand out in the sunshine and do what you're doing, that's a good test.
That's also an excuse, though, for the atrocities committed against our own people, Americans, by the CIA.
Oh,
their claim is we're doing it for the country.
Yeah, but are they proud of it?
Some of them probably are. But remember, there are a lot more psychopaths in the world than we are.
There's a situation here then. So the thing is, if you're dealing with somebody who thinks that in a righteous manner that their wrongdoings are righteous, then you're going to have conflict. In the Native American world, okay, you honor and respect the truth of others, but you do have the right to confront it. Because my truth is my truth, your truth is your truth, and when there is a conflict, something's going to have to give.
There's a conflict.
So
blanking
essentially, it's you don't have to. I still believe to some extent truth is somewhat relative, even though I try to find an objective truth. So the thing is that you could be dealing with an individual who's very capable of explaining their position, and that could be a position that you absolutely abhor. These terrorists, they feel thoroughly justified.
Yeah. Well, the left says one man's terrorist is another freedom fighter.
He's right. They're right, though. The thing is that, but the other man's freedom fighter, that other man, he ain't fucking with me. He's not on my side. That's the enemy.
And also their tactics are evil. Okay. October 7th is a prime example of how evil these people are.
Yes, that's see, I don't even consider that tactics. I consider that just raw debauchery. Tactics usually imply some sort of military purpose. What they went in and did is they ran amok and basically killed and tortured and maimed over 1,000 people. Gleefully.
Also, they were joined by Palestinians who were civilians.
Yes. And when they brought some of these people back naked and beaten up and stuff, the good old Palestinian regular civilian people were standing in line, spitting on them, kicking them, and hurting them some more. So,
did you see what Trump asked hostages who he saw in the Oval Office? He asked the 7 hostages who he saw if at any time any of his captors or the people around them showed them any kind of kindness. They all said no. There are no innocent Palestinians, okay? They're all scum. I'm sorry to say that. I know people aren't going to like it. Oh, you're being mean. You're generalizing. No, I'm not generalizing. That's why none of the Arab countries want the Palestinians there because every time they've been inside those countries, they have created chaos. They tried to assassinate the king of Jordan, for crying out loud.
Well, the thing is that if you're dealing with a group of people that you can identify, and if the vast majority of them are disreputable, you have to treat the entire group as disreputable. Otherwise, you'll turn your back on one of these sons of bitches and they'll stab you.
Well,
So,
they've been proving that they're disreputable.
yeah,
Okay.
frankly, I've lost my sense of mercy in regards to them. I don't really give a shit about them.
Yeah. No.
Let smarter, more capable people than me make those decisions.
Yeah, like the idiot students spending whose parents spend $60,000 or $100,000 to send them to Columbia or other Ivy League schools. And oh, free Palestine, free Palestine! I saw an interview. I think I mentioned this to you. I saw an interview with somebody where it was who's the guy who's got the youth thing? Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
I think, or somebody from Charlie Kirk's organization asking, and some Palestinian was saying that Israel never existed. It was always Palestine. And he told the guy, "Are you aware that the Quran mentions
Yeah.
Israel 14 times?" And the guy was like,
The Palestine thing was
"The name was given by the British. It wasn't even given by those people there."
if you want to get a accurate history of what happened to Palestine, go to PragerU and look and just type it in the information, and they give you the complete history of how Palestine was created, what the Jews, what the Israelis chose to do, what the Palestinians chose to do and not do, because they were offered 5 times to go ahead and establish themselves as a state, and they chose not to.
Yeah, and what happened each time that happened?
What? There was an
They
uprising?
said no, and then they started a war with
Yeah.
Israel. And they got their ass kicked, then cried. Anyway, PragerU is a great source of factual information, but the left will always puts it down. And there are people, intelligent people, who think they're disguising themselves as a university. They're not really a university. That's the name. It's because the university is somewhere where you are. The Greeks started the academy. You were supposed to think. You're supposed to think things through and discuss things and come to a truth that way. And the universities these days have lost that. In fact, most of our educational systems throughout the world have lost that because they indoctrinate children everywhere.
When you create any organization, okay, and you have to come up with a title for it, you want to come up with a title that actually defines to some degree. The thing is, okay, Prager, that's the guy's name. Okay, what is his thing? Prager, I'm going to teach you spot? No. Prager school? Maybe. Prager University. Ooh, that sounds good. So fucking what? Prager University.
Yeah.
So the thing is,
you know what? You learn more at Prager University on their videos than you do in these goddamn schools.
They do actually have some courses on there. Like they have a complete course that you can. Now you're not going to get credits for it, but the thing is that when you take a course, are you just interested in satisfying some numbers that the state said are useful for you? Or are you interested in actually owning that subject? If you are, then you can learn a lot from there.
You can also learn from Hillsborough College. They have a lot of free courses they offer. Anybody can sign up, and you go through several weeks of the course. Every week they have a lecture, and it's interactive, I think. And you can learn a lot of stuff from them. They won't give you the bullshit that's that revisionist history and shit. No, they'll tell you everything that really happened, good and bad. They won't sugarcoat it, but they do stress that despite our history, despite of the history of the bad things our country has done, we have corrected it. We've self-corrected whenever we get a chance. Sometimes it takes a long time.
Here's somebody I can recommend. Thomas Sowell, one of the greatest minds.
Man, brilliant man.
Give us a name for a genius.
Another genius, the one he died a couple of years ago, but he was contemporary of Thomas Sowell. No, I'm trying to remember his name. He was also a black economist and professor. I can't remember his name, though.
You know what came up with the zero sum thing?
Who?
Zero sum?
What's zero sum? What are you talking about?
Forget it. So, I was going to say Jordan Peterson.
Leave me hanging there. What are you talking about? Zero sum.
Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson?
He's another person to recommend if you want to look.
Oh, yeah. My God, yes. Oh, yeah.
And then
one of the most brilliant minds of our time, too.
Larry Elder, one of my favorites.
Elder is great.
He's still in the news now.
Who?
He's on Salem News.
Okay. Yeah, you told me he's got a show on there, right?
Yeah, he's good.
Video podcast or something.
Yeah, well, does a news thing. He's a podcaster, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think it qualifies as a podcast because of the fact that it is part of the Salem News, platform.
Okay.
I don't know how that makes it different, but I think it is.
Who owns Salem anyway?
I don't know.
Are they affiliated with the organization that Ben Shapiro's in? What the hell?
Oh God, yeah, he started that thing. Yeah, that's another great mind, Ben Shapiro.
He is. Oh my God, he thinks so fast that he can't get his words out fast enough.
If you want to see something really beautiful, okay, around Christmas time, him and his daughter played violin, and they played, I forget what song it was. It was a Christian song. If you can hunt that down, Ben Shapiro and his daughter play violin Christmas time.
Okay.
It's absolutely, because first of all, they played it perfectly. I forget what they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
A quasi-religious song, but the thing is that the fact that they were Jews playing a Christian or Christmas song made it even dearer. It was such a gift.
Most Jews, well, a lot of Jews have no problem with Christmas and things like that, and they have no problem with Christians. I find that Catholics seem to be poisoned. Their minds seem to be poisoned more against Jews than Jews are poisoned against Christians in general. Well, there are Jews who don't like Christians. I think that there are one.
What? Back in the early, well, actually, I would say mid to late 60s, I was in Elizabeth. And the thing is that I was treated very well by the Jews. I didn't even know what a Jew was when I moved over there. You heard not once in a while something about anti-Semitic stuff, but there wasn't a lot going on in Elizabeth, and I thought all that was dead. But in regards to Christians, I'm quite sure there's plenty of Jews that have hatred for somebody.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing is that do they dislike Catholics? I'm quite sure that the Catholic Church and also Christians and so forth like that have been disappointing to Jews as well as affirming. I just think that I don't know if there's more here than there. I don't know.
Dennis Prager is very, very devout Jew. Okay, very Orthodox. Oh yeah, and he's been writing something called the Rational Bible. He is taking the first 4 books of the Torah and rewriting it in plain English for people to understand. But he loves Christmas and so forth. And he says Christians. There are a lot of Christians who have helped Jews over the centuries throughout history. And there are a lot of Christians who, because of the church's stance against Jews, persecuted Jews.
Well, I celebrated Hanukkah with Jewish families, more than one. And they came over to my house and we celebrated Christmas with them. Usually they came over Christmas Eve. And then we would give them something. There was not a lot of exchange of presents, but we would give them something so this way we would be hospitable.
The Jews, the 7 days of Hanukkah, they get a present every day.
Yeah, but but they're usually
it's not as big a deal as with Christmas, of course.
Yeah, and the gift doesn't have to see that. Like, I hate to say it, but Christmas has turned into, for the past 50, 60, 70 years, I don't know how long, but it's been bastardized. I don't even have a Christmas tree in my house anymore. That's partially because I don't have kids, but also I have a display, the nativity scene. And I've have it every year because I think you should.
That's the true spirit of Christmas.
I think you should put Christ back in Christmas, and Santa Claus should be, something for little kids, and like the Tooth Fairy, but which is
my parents. The way we were brought up, my parents always had a Christmas tree. I always had a nativity scene also, and throughout the years, eventually, my cousin, when he lived with us, he used to build this nativity scene with the whole thing. He'd take a couple pieces of furniture, put this brown, this paper from flour bags that he painted brown, so forth, so it looked like mountains and so forth. And he'd build like a kind of mountain and then he put little houses and little figurines here, there, and everywhere. It was a lot of work, but it was great displays. And my brother Paul, my younger brother, he puts up one of those things every year at his house at Christmas. Every year, and he's using a lot of the same things that my parents had.
Yeah, another reason why I don't put up a Christmas tree is because I don't want people to know that I'm to think that I'm Christian and bust in my house thinking there's a whole bunch of presents. That's the truth. That's another reason why I don't do that stuff. I do have some sort of symbol on the house to represent that I am celebrating Christmas, but I don't put lights on. I was never into that light thing. I did it for my second wife. I used to put lights on the inside of the windows because I ain't climbing a ladder and putting shit on.
I used to decorate the house. The first house we owned, we used to decorate. I used to decorate the windows, and outside I had, which I planted after we bought the house. There was a Japanese maple, and there was a pine tree, and I used to put lights on those, and around the front of the house there was a little what do you call it? You had some steps on the front porch, and there was a little roof and columns. I used to put things around there.
All I know is when New Year's Day came, the tree went out the freaking window.
No,
I couldn't stand it anymore. Plus they're fire hazards.
No, we always waited till January 7th. I think that's, what is that, the Ascension or something?
The fish thing.
I forget what January 7th.
7 fish or something like that.
Advent?
No, Advent. I was married to a Colombian girl that used to. There were these. There were 7 grapes that you had to eat or something like that. I don't remember, but there's all kinds of silly stuff.
The Italians have. I think I heard AJ Benza saying that the Italians have. I think it's 7 fish or something.
Fish
that they have on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
fish. Yeah, I think it's 7 fish, right? Something like that.
Yeah, that's what I have heard. I never did it myself, but there's all kinds of crazy. Yeah. I remember, now I remember when I was about 4 or 5 years old, when I was living in Orange, there's a church there called Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And I remember that there was like, there's a thing that they do, they bless your throat so you don't ever get choked. And they did get these 2 candles and they put it across your throat like that.
Oh, and I remember getting the candles. I didn't know what that was about. I remember that.
That's death.
Is that an Italian thing? Because you guys tend to garrote each other, or what?
No. It's because just in case we accidentally bump into a person from.
I know what you're searching for.
God damn it!
I'm not going to help you.
Forget about it. But anyway, So I remember that was the thing, and the thing is, I was in Catholic school at the time. The nuns explained to us that yes, there was a child that didn't get his throat blessed, and the next day he choked to death on a bone. And we're going, oh my God, we got to get our throat blessed, otherwise we're gonna have a friggin' bone in our throat. So we,
some nuns who'd hit you over the head with a.
They beat me bad. They beat me so bad one time that they actually broke that yardstick across me, and she got angry because she broke it, and she took out something else and started continuing to beat me. Now they were vicious bitches. I don't give a damn if none.
What she does to you. Here's the thing: drive you crazy. They needed to get laid.
I would not allow a nun to have any harm. I would stand between her and harm.
Of course,
but the fact of the matter is, I hated those ones.
I remember this kid. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a nut job. This kid, and he was dangerous. He died. He was 16. He died fleeing the cops. He was drunken on pills, and he crashed into the base of a subway, a train platform thing in Newark. At 85 miles an hour trying to escape the cops. Anyway, this kid would have killed somebody sooner or later. He was really nuts. I remember one time that he did
kill somebody. He killed him.
Sister Catherine brought him in by the ear and complaining to Sister Michael, who was my teacher at the time. No, it was vice versa. Sister Michael brought him in to Sister Catherine. I was in 5th grade. He was in 4th at the time. And she's like saying that he did this, that, and the other thing. And she was going to take him down to the principal, to father, whoever the principal was. I can't remember. And all of a sudden, she like shakes him or something, or slaps him. He turns around and he kicks one of the nuns.
Okay.
Well, the nuns did a tag team, WWE tag team on him. Took him, shake him, slap him, throw him at the other one. The other one took him, shook him, slapped him, threw him back and forth a couple of times. Then finally, Sister Michael, who was taller and younger, grabs him by the ear and drags him out of the classroom to the principal's office.
Jesus. Yeah,
he was wild. I mean,
vicious.
he was a psychopathic sociopath, I think.
And the problem is that when I went to St. Mary's Church, when I was moved to Elizabeth and wasn't in a parochial school anymore, okay, I had to go to St. Mary's for catechism class. And the nuns were miserable there too. And they constantly insulted the girls that were there, basically implying that they're future whores or something like that. Like, we all hated the nuns. They're just mean,
Some of the nuns I liked at the time, although they were tough. And if they got on your bad side, if you got on their bad side, forget it, you were done. But I was a good student, so I wasn't in too much trouble. What?
I'm sorry. I had nothing but bad luck with these nuns.
I got my share of smacks and hits with the ruler on my thumbs and stuff, fingers.
Well, there's the back of the legs. There's the pulling of the ear.
The ear was the worst. Oh my God.
Hands. But the thing is that a lot of corporal punishment.
Yeah.
And so it makes you wonder why they're so frustrated. So
I said celibacy. Well, there were two. The two that I missed, actually, because I went overseas for 2 years. After 6th grade, I went overseas to live with my grandmother, me and my brother Richie. But then after 2 years, we came back and I went right into high school. But I missed Sister Alice and Sister Ethel. Alice was 7th grade, Ethel was 8th grade. These nuns terrified everyone. And rumor had it that they had been imprisoned by the Nazis during World War II.
Shit.
I don't know about that because at the time I believed it, but I don't remember them having any accents, European accents. They were as American as you and I. And it could be they were working over there as missionaries.
Bullshit story, because you're just a kid. I don't know how you found it out.
I don't know. Well, that's what everybody said. They used to be they were in a concentration camp, and that's what made them mean. It was a good excuse, I guess.
Well,
I mean, I guess some kid was looking for a reason that why the hell are they such bitches, really?
Mm.
And thank goodness I never had to deal with them.
The interesting thing is that I got along with the priests. I never had a problem with the priests.
No, they were probably trying to put the make on you.
No, that didn't happen.
No, I know. No, a lot of the priests were cool guys. I had priests at the prep. We had priests there, and all but one of them I kind of liked. One of them, again, I won't say his name, but I liked him. He was an English teacher, but he used to like the bottle. So he's always mellow, but that's because I think during the day he was always taking a little sip of something.
Mm.
Yeah, and but he was a cool guy. The other one, oh my God, he was such a pain in the butt, man. Well, I don't mean that literally, but
memory.
He was not too many people liked him, really. Yeah. In fact, I don't know if anybody liked him. To tell you the truth. Oh, and our headmaster, who years later got involved in some kind of scandal, but we still don't know whether or not he was involved in child trafficking or not. But he was a real tall guy. He was like 6'5". Our class, sophomore year, when we get back from lunch, we would get rowdy. We'd make so much noise that his office was right down the hall, and almost every single day before our post lunch class started, all of a sudden everybody would quiet down suddenly because there he is at the doorway standing like this, dressed all in black, thin, 6'5". He was like a presence, right? And with his pipe hanging from his mouth. And then we'd quiet down, then he would walk back to his office. Anyway, we haven't talked about much really today, but we had a good conversation anyway, I think.
We're in for at least 45 minutes.
54, actually.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you go.
We haven't talked about much.
We have?
Yeah,
Not.
54 minutes is a lot of talking.
Oh, we just talked. I mean, we didn't get too seriously into anything
We
except for the
started,
goddamn Muslim Brotherhood, those pieces of shit.
we started that way, and the
Yeah.
thing is, a lot of other people that I talk to, complete strangers, right? I bump into a lot because I wear this MAGA hat and it draws people to me. And every single one of them in the past couple of days has mentioned the disrespect that they gave that little boy during the
Man,
DJ,
the
right?
Democrats are assholes.
Yeah, but the thing
Assholes.
is, like, yeah, there are various degrees of assholedom. Okay, that is extreme. That is black hole of Calcutta assholedom. You know,
Oh, yeah,
and
they're
people
evil.
are pissed. People are pissed about that because it's a 13-year-old kid who's a cancer survivor, and you
Yeah,
can't stand up for his greatest moment. Fuck
yeah.
you.
You can't stand up for the woman who lost her daughter to
But they bring up the kid most of all.
what?
They bring up the kid most of all. It's not that they disagree or they didn't think that those times were potent. It's just that because it's a child
Yeah.
versus adult, you
Well,
know?
one of the girls, she was what, 10 or 13 when she was raped, beaten, raped, and then beaten, and then raped again, tortured, and then
I
left for dead.
understand that, but she wasn't there. Okay. The thing
Her
is
parents were there. Her mother and sister were there.
I understand that, but it's not the same as listen, it's just when you have somebody presenting and they represent a particular subject and it's an adult versus a child, people see the child. That's all. It's optics.
The Republicans, even when under Obama and even under that scumbag Biden, the Republicans stood in and applauded certain things. Okay, they were against certain things. They didn't applaud certain things, but Biden would say some things, and the
Just
Republicans would get up,
trying
and the Democrats
to
would
to
applaud.
you. I'm just
What?
trying to report to you the responses that I've gotten, and when we talk about that particular event,
Yeah,
okay, that's what makes people really angry.
yeah, because the
So
Democrats
regardless of
will
whether
reveal
or not you
themselves.
think that the other people should have been treated with equal amount or greater amount or whatever, the point is that's what people are doing. They're very, very pissed off at the fact that they didn't have the decency to at least give this child, which is what he is,
Yeah,
to what like that seems to be
because they are scum. They are evil. And you're the one who told me that one of the guys said we should stand up for this, and the other guy told him, no, we got to sit down.
I have heard that. I don't know if I was the one who told you.
Or maybe I
Yeah,
read it.
there was a Democrat that they said, but the thing is, every single one of those private citizens or whatever they were, every single one of those people that were honored was worth our respect.
Yes,
So I'm not saying that that's not the case. It's to be honest with you, they should have stood up for every single one of those people. End of statement.
yes,
If they had done that, then they would have told the American people we disagree with Trump and his stuff, but when it comes to American citizens and their distress and their exhalations, we stand by them.
did you see that whore Jasmine Crockett? She had that video, a little music video that she did with a couple of other people before the speech. They were already planning to do the shit, and she's insulting the president and so forth. Fucking cunt. There goes our PG rating for the night.
Why? Because I
Crockett,
mean,
you didn't see that? I'll find the thing and send you a link. She
I
had
don't
a
I
video.
that level of
They were in
stupidity.
the whole movie dancing and everything and shit. They're fucking ridiculous. Crockett is a little asshole. She's almost a midget. Okay,
The thing is that
she's vile, vile.
if you're hunting for assholes, if you're hunting for brain dead, low life pieces of shit,
Just go to the DNC.
it's a target rich environment because there's so many of them. So it's you can't it's kind of like turning on the light in your kitchen and all of a sudden hundreds of cockroaches are running under the floorboard. It's a target.
These are running out into the light. These fucking cock. Yeah.
But
Anyway,
the thing is that whole event, that 2-hour event, which my God, how does he do it? How does he draw that level of energy and clarity? I mean, 2 hours of
yeah,
nonstop talking and getting all the details right.
Yep.
It's amazing. And also handling impromptu moments like a champ, and basically calling them out, pointing at them. Yeah,
Yeah.
you motherfucker. It's like I've listened to a couple of different, like the Benny Show and stuff like that, and they keep saying that Trump has the same timing as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. No, he's a brilliant comedian in that respect.
And they loved when he was saying all the stuff about the transgender mice and all that stuff. And they said, listen to what he's saying and listen to his pause because he's setting you up for the joke.
Yeah.
And $8 billion to Botswana for the transgender mice. It's like,
Mice.
oh my God, he's so good.
Yeah.
And then he goes ahead and he says, I could come up with a cure for cancer that would destroy nations, and these people still wouldn't applaud.
Yeah, of course. Their TDS does not allow them to see how humorous he is, how they can't recognize his sense of humor. They take everything he say as some kind of attack on humanity.
Well, attack on them, that's for sure. Because of the
They
fact that
deserve to be attacked. Fuck them. They're the ones who, even that bitch Maxine Waters was calling again for violence again. Now that cunt Jasmine Crockett is calling for his assassination. And somebody else did that the other day. Oh yeah, I saw some clown saying that where's John Wilkes Booth when we need Lee Harvey Oswald when we need him. When the fuck is the Secret Service going to visit this motherfucker?
this shows you how poorly informed they are. Because now that we know there was a second shooter, we know Oswald didn't do it. So yeah, we need another Oswald.
Oh, and did you see the picture showing Oswald? And I've seen this years ago too. Oswald at the entrance of the book depository downstairs, not upstairs where he's supposedly shot in the 6th floor. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's given how much they've destroyed and hidden evidence. It's right now. It's unless somebody who's truly, reliable. I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't really care.
I'm running out of energy here. I'm going to have to plug this in.
You should always have it plugged in. What the fuck did you plug it in, man?
Oh, it was fully charged when I started.
Yes.
Anyway,
If you keep it plugged
okay.
in.
I think that's enough for tonight. We are going to say goodnight, despite Mike's mouth still wanting to keep running. And we will see you. We'll see you Tuesday night, actually, and we will bring aboard a young conservative who will tell us how it is to be a Gen. What is he? A Gen Zer?
I don't know. 25 years old, whatever that is.
I know that the Gen X is a lost cause. I think he's a Gen Z, and they are more conservative than even a lot of our generation. So
yes, as I remember, they voted heavily in favor of Trump.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, this thing hurts. Have a good night. We will see you Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Please.
Have a pleasant evening. And have a pleasant good evening.
Have a pleasant good evening.
Woohoo!